Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video, I'll be doing the unboxing and hands-on review of the Motorola RAZR 5G. So guys, here's the box. Now Motorola has launched this phone in India online exclusively on Flipkart, and you can also buy it in other retail stores as well at a price of 1,25,000 rupees. It's too hefty of a price, but with HDFC credit card, you can get 10,000 discount. This phone is available only in one variant, and it comes in polished graphite color. Pre-bookings have already started and the sale starts from October 12th. Now coming back to the box. So this is how it looks, and this is a review unit, so it's a bit worn out. And on the bottom we have all the specs and IMEI numbers, product information and so on. And on the top, this is how it looks. You have the Moto logo over here and RAZR 5G on the front. Now the packaging itself is pretty unique. You just need to pull it up and there we have it. Up front we have the phone itself. Let me just remove that. A pretty unique packaging, and in fact it looks pretty similar to the previous RAZR. I'll come back to the phone in a second. Now on the back side we have another box with all the accessories. Now here's the box. We got all the documentation over here, and that's all we got in terms of documentation. Following that is a USB Type-C charging cable. We also get an audio jack to Type-C adapter. So there's no audio jack on this phone. Next we got the SIM card ejector, which has a pretty different design, and this is how it looks. And finally, we have an 18 watts turbo power charger. Coming back to the phone, this is how the phone looks on the front, and this is how it looks on the back. And let me just open it up. And this is how it looks on the inside. It looks pretty cool. Now let's have a physical overview. On the front we have a pretty huge display, and that's protected by a 3D curved Corning Gorilla Glass 5. Above the display we have a microphone, and below the display we have the rear camera, single LED flash along with some sensors, and below that we have a microphone. On the back we have a 3D curved Corning Gorilla Glass 5. At the top we have the circular fingerprint scanner with the Moto branding, and below we have the RAZR branding with the third microphone. Now the central frame of this phone is actually made of 7000 series aluminum, and the hinge mechanism is actually made of stainless steel. Now once we open the phone, this is how it looks. This display is actually made of POLED. It has a plastic layer on the top which actually allows it to bend. Above the display we have the front facing camera, earpiece along with some sensors, and below the display it's completely plain, and on the frame we have the fourth microphone. Now for the sides, on the right side we have the volume buttons, on the left side we have the power button, which is actually pretty small. These buttons are made of metal, they have a nice clicky feel to them, but their positioning could have been better. Moto could have brought them down a little bit. Now at the top side it is completely plain, and finally at the bottom we have the speaker grill followed by the Type-C charging port and the SIM card tray. By the way, this phone supports dual SIM. You can insert a physical SIM, and the second SIM is an eSIM. Now let me just show you the hinge mechanism. So here's the phone closed, and here we go. And every time you open it and close it, you do hear a kind of sound like two balloons rubbing together. It's not too annoying, but you can hear it if it's a completely silent room. So here's the sound. I'm just amplifying it. So that's the sound you hear every time you open it and close it. And as for the crease, there are 3 crease. I don't know if you can see it clearly. So 1, 2, 3. When the display is off, you can clearly see them under the reflection, but normally it's not that visible. Now these are the complete specifications of this phone. On the rear, this phone has a 48 megapixel primary camera with optical image stabilization, laser autofocus, and advanced electronic video stabilization. For selfies, it has a 20 megapixel camera. It has 2 displays. The bigger one is a 6.2-inch plastic OLED Cinema Vision display with HD+ resolution, and the smaller one is a 2.7-inch OLED display with 4:3 aspect ratio and standard definition. As for the performance, it sports a Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G processor with Adreno 620 GPU with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. Right out of the box, it will be running Android 10. It will receive updates for the next 2 years, and it will get 3 years of security updates, which is pretty great. Now when it comes to battery, This phone has a 2800 mAh battery, supports fast charging, and comes with an 18 watts turbo power charger inside the box. Now those were the specifications. Let me turn on the phone and set it up and come back to you in a second. Now this is how the phone looks once we turn it on and set it up. As it's pure stock Android, it looks pretty similar to other phones. Now as for the storage, out of that 256 GB of space, we get about 237 GB of space for our user apps and user data. And here's the about page. Right out of the box, it is running Android 10, and as of now it has the August 1st security patch. It should be getting the September or October security patch pretty soon. Now let's check out the camera interface. This phone has just a single rear camera, and here's the interface for that. We have a button over here for zoom, but you have to actually swipe left or right to zoom in and zoom out. And that's obviously digital zoom. Now as far as the features goes, on the left side we have the regular video recording mode. This phone has electronic image stabilization and optical image stabilization, and we can record video in 4K resolution. Now these are all the camera related features supported by this phone. We have the regular rear camera portrait mode and night vision as well, and the rest are the camera features that we have seen on other Moto phones. Now here's the interface for the front facing camera, and initial impressions, it looks pretty good. I'll show you more sample shots later. And once again on the left side we have video recording, and on the right side these are all the modes that are available for the front camera. You also have group selfies where you can take a panorama shot using the front facing camera, and you can get a wide angle selfie. So that's the camera interface, and now these are some sample shots. Now let's check out the secondary display. I've already logged this phone with fingerprint and password, so that's why the secondary display is logged as well. Now to unlock this secondary display, you can either use face unlock using this rear camera, or you can use the fingerprint scanner, or either you can use the pattern. Now this secondary display is just like your regular Android phone, but with a different launcher. This is the home screen. On the left side we have a quick shortcut for the camera application. So using the secondary display, we can actually take a selfie using the rear camera. You can either just touch the display to take a shot, or else we can show the palm gesture to take a shot. Now back to the home screen. On the right side, we have the application shortcuts, and once again you can edit this list, and these are the applications that I've put up. And if you swipe right, you have some more shortcuts. Here we have the phone dialer. In this small screen we can use all our regular applications. You can even play games, and here's a quick preview of that. This is the Chameleon Run. By the way, this is a game that I've installed, so you can install any game that you want and there's not going to be any problem. Now as for the navigation of the secondary display, once you're in any application, you can swipe from the bottom of the screen to go home, and once you're in the home screen, you can swipe from the bottom of the screen for notifications, and you can swipe from the top for the toggles. For some applications, this secondary display also supports continuity, where when you open any application in the smaller display and open the phone, it opens up in the bigger screen. As for the games, it's not possible. It also works with YouTube, so that's pretty great. Now I've opened YouTube in the smaller display, and now it's opened up in the bigger display. And you can also use the secondary display for media controls when the display is locked, and when the display is unlocked, you can actually open applications directly, like play the YouTube video directly. Now let's check out the speaker loudness. By the way, this one has just a single speaker at the bottom. So here's the audio preview. Speaker on this phone is pretty loud enough. It's great for ringtones, alarms, and it's decent for media consumption as well. Now with the box packaging, we also get the sound booth or sound bar, which can actually slightly improve or amplify the speaker loudness. Here's a quick preview once again without this box. Step by step, the clock is ticking, but there's no time for reasons. I've been flying from town to town, from London to... It definitely sounds better inside the box. Now let's test the fingerprint scanner. I've already set it up, and here we go. Fingerprint scanner is pretty fast. but positioning the finger on the fingerprint scanner itself is quite tedious. Every time we actually unlock the phone using the fingerprint scanner, there's a subtle haptic feedback, which is also pretty great. Overall, fingerprint scanner is pretty fast and usable, but I wish it was placed somewhere over here, where it could be easily accessible with an index finger. Or Motorola could have added an in-display fingerprint scanner under this secondary display as well. That would have been much more cooler. Anyway, even this setup is pretty good. Now let's test the face unlock feature. Once again, I've already set it up, and here's a quick demonstration in good lighting conditions. It's pretty fast, not as fast as the Oppo and Vivo phones, but still pretty fast and usable. Because of this flip mechanism, usually it's much more preferable to use a face unlock feature. So just need to open the phone and your phone wakes up, sees your face and unlocks the phone. So most of the time, I would prefer to use the face unlock feature. Now let's test the face unlock feature in low lighting conditions. And it works pretty fine. It's fast as well. It's definitely usable. So that was the face unlock feature. Now because of the secondary display, we also have some cool camera related features. So let me just show you that. For that, we need to go to settings. Now once you're in settings, make sure you enable camera cartoon, and once you're done, every time you take a picture with the rear camera, you get this cool cartoon animation on the secondary display. We also have a feature called instant review, where we can get a quick preview of the image once we take a picture using the rear camera. So that's a preview. I wish there was live preview as well. Maybe Moto will add it with a future update. Just like the previous RAZR phone, we have the retro mode and you can access it from the notification toggles. And once you enable it, this is how the phone's going to be looking like. Let me just try that once again. And once you unlock the phone, we have the retro look. This is one of the unique features of this phone. It looks pretty cool. Even though Moto is going with that nostalgic Moto RAZR feeling, we still get all the famous Moto features like Moto Actions, where you can do a chop gesture to toggle the torch, flip gesture to open the camera application. It also has the peak display feature if you keep the phone open. And as for performance, this phone has a Snapdragon 765G, and it is by no means a pushover, even when you compare it with something like a Snapdragon 865. By the way, this processor is also the first 5G single chip SoC built on 7nm architecture. Now before I conclude, these are the benchmark scores. So guys, this is the new Moto RAZR 5G, the most unique phone that you can get right now. Well, you also have other flip phones, but you also get that nostalgic feeling of the Moto RAZR that no other phone can give. So if you're in the market for a phone that stands out of the crowd, then this is something that you can definitely consider. So guys, what do you think about this Moto RAZR? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.